Hello and welcome back to the Bucharest minor CIS Qualifier playoffs. This is a winner's bracket where we have Gambit Esports versus Team Empire Hope in the fight to make it to the grand finals to play for the space in the minor. Only one slot for the CIS. Who's it going to be? I am joined by, of course, the lovely Tsunami this time around. I've swapped up. I got bored of Mo Farah and brought in somebody new. How's it going, dude?
This is good. I didn't actually watch too much of the Chongqing qualifiers, so this is going to be more of the 7.2 exposure. I guess not very many games have been played on the D patch specifically, so now that things have settled out, maybe people can start getting a bearing on how the patch is going to be for like the next few weeks, because the first opening week and a half of a patch is always chaos. But now things, I guess, we're starting to see heroes become picked more and more. I know you probably saw like quite a bit of Lich, I think. Anti-Mage seems to be a CIS specific thing because I'm not really seeing that too much in other regions. And then Grimstroke, as we see getting banned, seems to be a very popular addition ever since his entrance in the captain's mode.
Yeah, people have been loving the Grimstroke, and weirdly, the hero we've been seeing the most of ever since the patch really is definitely Brewmaster, I think. Rubik fallen out of favor a little bit. We saw loads of Rubik when the patch first came out. Like, Rubik was everywhere. But now they've kind of calmed down on the whole Rubik thing, and yeah, I think Brew's probably the most picked hero of this tournament so far. We're seeing him around every corner. But yeah, I mean, Lich as well. Dazzle always popular right now just because Pat Juju is so damn good. There's a lot of few heroes poking around, but yeah, definitely the Sand King, the Brewmaster, these tend to be your first faces, and I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, the Brew gets banned out. Thank God, because I was actually super bored of watching that hero.
I would be only excited to see it if someone finally tries to take the concept of the one position brew out of hypothetical and actually puts it into execution, because
yeah, right.
Every single brew I've seen so far has been utility oriented, which is how he's always been played, but I don't know, I think one position is being slept on.
Yeah, push the meta a bit, get that boat out. Meanwhile, Team Empire, they will start things off with the Lone Druid. Now we've seen seeing a fair bit of Lone Druid when it's not banned out. This hero's, I mean, he's not like, he doesn't feel super strong, but he feels pretty damn good. I still think Spirit Link is kind of like, it's this weird spell where obviously movement speed and attack speed is always really nice, especially to get that entangle off, but at the same time, like, the healing part of it is really kind of bad. Like, it heals, it lifesteals for the other component, and with the way people are building Lone Druid right now, they're stacking all their items onto the hero and giving nothing to the bear. So basically just healing a useless bear up, which is kind of like, oh, well, whatever. But the attack speed and the movement speed are really nice.
Yeah, overall, it has like slightly more uptime than the old Rabid, and it's a little less mana intensive. And so the lifesteal component seems to be just like the gimmicky thematic part of the spell, which is what 7.2 added a bunch of, especially with the original Cinder Brew being all like, oh, it's gimmicky type advantages and stuff like that. So I don't really think too many people need to put focus on making the synergy of the lifesteal, but it's a shame in general that the bear is just being completely ignored. And I think the primary reason that a lot of people are citing is just because the move speed changes have been, I guess, a little too impactful to make the bear useful. The original phase boots of 7.2 were great because you just sick the bear on someone, have phase boots on the bear, and for one thing, it's less micro, but on the other hand, it's also a great way that the bear can consistently stay stuck on a target, even when Spirit Link is down. But now, when we're back to active phase boots, it's just too difficult to make the bear useful, so you're better off just putting on primary ranged druid.
Yeah, exactly, and so, you know, like, he's just an ensnare, right? He's a four-legged ensnare. He does his job, and he's just like, all right, thank you, bear. You're no longer required.
A backup Savage Roar if things go a little bit.
Oh yeah,
hairy.
He's also got that spell as well. Yeah. But we have a Coddle coming out, Coddle Beastmaster. Now we have seen a little bit of the Coddle floating around. I mean, GH played it fantastically in the major qualifiers, and every now and again we see him showing his beautiful face. Throwing down the Will-O-Wisp new ultimate, drawing everybody in like a moth to a lamp.
Yeah, I, like many other people, was immensely skeptical of the new Coddle, primarily because I thought Mana Leak was like one of his most underrated spells. But I think more people are... I'm only really a fan of Coddle whenever he's given an opportunity to make this new post-cooldown Chakra Magic useful. Like, the Will-O-Wisp is nice If you can have Teamfight Ultimates combined with it, that's great. I'm sure with Beastmaster you can probably do some stuff, especially now that the pushback on Primal Roar is so great. And Blinding Light is also useful if you see an enemy one position that gets affected by it heavily. Lone Druid is a high profile candidate for hating the new Blinding Light because he does not like building any of the stuff that purges off. He doesn't like building BKB, doesn't really like building Manta, definitely doesn't build Greaves, and he's not gonna. We don't really see the Necrobook build that frequently on Lone Druid these days, and so it's a great counter pick against Lone Druid. So if they don't have anything to buff up with Chakra Magic, I'm fine with it. But still, that's like my. I think that's where Coddle's really going to shine in competitive. And I guess with Beastmaster, you can kind of do some synergy. Wild Axe's cooldown will go super low, and so you can stack that damage on amp even more.
Well, actually, we've been seeing it being used mostly to stack the boars. Like, you know, you can get multiple boars, and that tends to be the Keeper of the Light and Beastmaster combo in the off lane. Just tons of boars running around. I mean, I say tons. Usually you get, like, maybe 2 in the early game, but you know, it's still annoying to deal with. The slow is so good. Just having 100% uptime on that boar is really strong for your laning phase. And that guy now doing hero damage as well just seems to hurt a lot more. And really kind of messes with your carry as well. I mean, slowing down a carry permanently, you know, without using your cooldowns, just using that board to hit away at him, gonna make it really difficult to last hit. You know, it really does affect your last hitting.
And the onus is typically on the support hero to be like, I have to spend my mana killing these boards instead of harassing. And these days, I don't even. So, how have Liches been doing their skill build? Because that is something that I haven't really gotten much data on. Are they primarily going Frost Shield, or is it just a value point in Sinister Gaze, or what is the deal?
Yeah, it seems to be varying from Lich to Lich. I mean, generally, people do tend to level up that Frost Shield and go for the value point in Sinister Gaze, as you said, but we have seen some people going for the Frost Blast if they need the damage. I've even seen like 1 or 2 people going for the Sinister Gaze in very, very certain circumstances, but it's not very common. I think there was a Bat Rider Lich lane where he like maxed Sinister Gaze, and that was like brutal, obviously, because you just sit on
Wow.
Them.
Yeah, that is rough. I think the problem is that Lich's, like, his Frost Blast didn't get changed, and it was originally balanced around the fact that he had a mana battery supplying it constantly with Sacrifice. And so now it doesn't really surprise me that like Liches aren't being able to favor it as much, especially in a lane that will most likely be against a Coddle. You're not going to be able to just sit back and suck down Clarities. So I'm curious to see how he chooses to skill up this game.
Just like sitting under the tower, just downing Clarities.
Dude, against some offlanes, you can definitely get away with it, but a Coddle Beastmaster, I'm very skeptical.
Yeah, yeah. Now Gambit will take the Tusk away from Team Empire Hope. Now, this has been one of their stable go-to picks, therefore it's going to feel pretty bad to get it taken away from them. Haven't seen Gambit play it today yet, but yeah, this is one of Sayu's favorite heroes. So quite, I was actually surprised to see them not banning it, and then it made sense when they picked it. Although I thought they were setting up for a Terrorblade pick, looking at those bans.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they can still save it in their pocket for later in the draft. It's not urgent, I suppose, seeing as though Empire already have a Lone Druid on the field. They're not going to really opt for a second carry.
Yeah, that's true, though we have seen a few Druids going mid, and they're actually going to take out an early Lion. All right, well, we saw this last game. Very disappointed that he wasn't walking around with like 2k finger damage, but still pretty exciting.
I think it's going to be difficult for him to manage that this game as well. I don't... Again, Tusk is another hero that I'm not really sure how people are skilling him up. When are you typically seeing tag team being taken or maxed? I'm assuming probably later in the game. Or maybe like a value point early on and then max it out later.
Yeah, tend to be either value point or even maxing it early on over the snowball. Just value point and snowball. Value point and shards and go for the tag team and just go right click people down. I think it depends on the lane again. You know, that's the great thing about Tusk and a lot of these heroes, which we're seeing picked up a lot, is that you can vary what you build and what you pick. You know, I think that's a strength with even Coddle as well. You know, sometimes we even see them not going for the Illuminate and chasing down other trees. So yeah, it's always. In fact, I'm not even sure Coddle's going to be leveling up the Illuminate this game. Maybe.
Yeah.
Dire team pick.
Unless there's like some specific push that he's concerned about, but against Lone Druid, especially since, like you said, the bear primary thing is not really common anymore, so Lone Druid is not that terrifying of a pusher.
This is savage. I don't know if you've seen this so far, but Visage plus Tusk is absolutely brutal to deal with, because this tag team, it does affect the birds. At least it did before. They changed it with the spiders, but I don't think they've changed it with the birds, so And those guys hit pretty fast, so they're going to be
5 seconds
absolutely
remaining.
melting you if they're within that Tusk's aura.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if that still works, because it would only work if there's a specific exception for creep heroes, because Visage Familiars are like a higher tier of creep. But my understanding is that it's only units owned by Tusk and then allied heroes. But I think the slow may still apply, but not the damage. I don't know. This will be an opportunity for me to figure out the interaction.
Cool. But I mean, it definitely used to work on spiders, but they patched it. I don't know how
It
much.
did, yeah. And they specifically said like, okay, it's gonna be only Tusk's units, and I think
gotcha.
illusions also can proc it from anyone. But yeah, we'll see if it works on. I mean, at the minimum, you can still snowball them, and that's great.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sand King makes it somehow through to the 4th pick this game and will be taken by Team Empire Hope. So it's going to be a 3 position, sitting in that off lane and just
10
annoying the
seconds
hell out of
remaining.
whatever carry they choose to pick up on Team Gambit. We've also seen a couple of these Sand Kings
5
being left to
seconds
solo
remaining.
lane, all alone, versus either a tri lane or a dual lane, and it's worked pretty well in the past. I can see a Lich Lion Lone Druid lane being pretty difficult for the Keeper of the Light and Beastmaster to deal with. But I think they'll probably end up going for the dual lanes just because I don't think you need to. I think you've already, Lone Druid is such a strong laner. He's not really going to lose his lane with a Lich anyway, especially when you've got the Frost Armor to throw on the bear. It's going to be really strong. Or you can just combo it up the Lion and then, again, Lion's a nice laner.
Yeah, it depends on how vulnerable of a carry Gambit want to go for, but I think chances are Empire's hoping to do
Dire
dual
team
side
back.
lanes. Gambit bans out the Slark, and I mean, we'll see if Empire want to ban out that TB that you suggested. Let's see. Whoa. So what were Gambit's carries in the previous series? It was all anti-mage, wasn't
Ooh,
it?
you're testing my knowledge now. It was 2 anti-mages and maybe 3 anti-mages?
10 seconds
I don't remember
remaining.
what the first game was.
Handful of anti-mage. That's all I
there,
need
there
to
were
know,
there were
really.
there were a lot of anti-mages.
Yeah, and then the previous time these two teams met, which was during the Chongqing qualifiers, in which Gambit was victorious, or sorry, wait, Gambit was
Yeah.
victorious. They had gone for a Juggernaut one game, they had gone for a Spectre one game, and they went for a PA one game, but the PA has been banned out. And Jug, I think, was like at the beginning of the patch a little bit more popular. Now people aren't really picking it this much, as far as I know. And Spectre also, I don't think, is really seeing that much play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually kind of liking the Juggernaut from Team Empire Hope, though. It gives them
Right?
a nice evasion for the snowball. Raw's going to be pretty good against it, but you've got so much setup as well for to get a nice long spin-off in the laning phase. But I mean, that would mean putting the Druid mid, but I don't think he minds going mid versus the Visage. And nope, it's going to be Team Empire Hope who take that Terrorblade, and Gambit just straight away pick up that Outward Devour. They were ready for that.
Yeah, it looks like it.
That was their plan. Does he still do crazy damage to illusions?
No, that was taken off the Arcane Orb, which is why I'm a little bit surprised that they go for it. At
Okay.
least I'm pretty sure it was taken off Arcane Orb. Let me check.
Alrighty then.
7.20 no longer deals bonus damage against summons and illusions. I
Interesting.
mean, I guess the splash is a little bit useful, but that's only if a Terrorblade is like bad at microing and he clumps up all of his conjure images.
Yeah, which doesn't seem likely, to be honest. Like, June's been playing
No.
pretty good recently, and his Morphling's been pretty on point as well. And his Terrorblade's pretty terrifying, so I'm not sure what this OD accomplishes, but they've gone for it anyway, and we'll see what the plan is. As we load up into Game 1 in this best-of-3 series, it's Gambit versus Team Empire Hope, as they fight it out to find out who's going to be making it through to the grand final, then only one win away from making it to the Bucharest Minor. Pretty exciting stuff as they load into this matchup, and I think, for me, I'm kind of favoring Team Empire Hope here. I'm not sure Gambit will be able to end the game quick enough against this Terrorblade, but then again, they do have the Beastmaster and the Visage. If there's a team which can push, it's these two heroes.
Yeah, and Empire doesn't really necessarily have the best anti-push. All of their like spells that draw away aggro are a little bit too short range, and Lich's Frost Shield is not the old formidable tower defense force that it used to be. It's still good, but it won't really be that effective against like a Beastmaster and Visage push, which can, do sustained push damage, which is what the old Lich Ice Armor was great against. This new one is like short burst damage, it's more ideal to defend with, but yeah, I don't think that Gambit can, like, because the mid lane matchup, OD doesn't really seem that particularly strong against Lone Druid either. So not only is it not that great against the mid lane situation, but late game dealing with a Terrorblade, I don't really see it being that effective there either. But I haven't seen much OD since 7.20, so maybe they know something that I don't.
Watch your step.
Maybe they do. I mean, he has been much more popular since
True.
the last few patches, as I think they did they buff the splash damage to Arcane Orb. He can now attack Ancients with it. It's pretty nice spell now.
Yeah, it's mainly Equilibrium that's been the big question mark for me, because the old Essence Aura was like you basically had if you had like 2k mana, then the understanding was that you would never run out of mana, no matter how many times you cast Arcane Orb. And from what I've seen so far, Arcane Orb, being able to spam it is like not nearly as reliable as it used to be. But I don't know. We'll see how effectively Afo9 can use it.
We shall indeed, as they make their way up to this top rune and of the Terrorblade, not wanting to have anything to do with things, just sitting in the trees and waiting for the creeps to get there. I don't even think he's probably going to go and block, because he's going to be worried about them coming and making some aggressive movements, which they should. You know, I always like to see them go and harass the heroes they attempt to block and whatnot. So yes, he have tag teams. Was the enemies up under take bonus physical damage?
Yeah, and then if you alt it,
Allied
then it
heroes.
says right.
Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it's going to affect the village birds.
Again, only if there's like some sort of exception with creep heroes, which I don't think there is. So, I mean, either way, it's still like I'm not surprised that he's taking it level 1. I don't really know how much he's going to be able to intimidate. Well, actually, yeah, I don't know how Empire is going to play these. It's like a Sand King and Lion in the bot lane. They're going to send Terrorblade and Lich at the top, which I guess makes sense.
Yep.
I don't think Lich is going to really be able to help Terrorblade all too much, though. This offlane is so messy.
Yeah,
Coddle plus Beastmaster is just ruthless.
I think it's a bit too much, and already look at this, they're just illuminating the creep wave and the heroes inside of it as well. I think they're just recognizing that the Terrorblade is going to throw down this Metamorphosis really early, so you just push him under tower, keep the pressure on going really early, and don't stop, and she should get another double illuminate here. Look at that damage. That hurts.
Yeah, now he's going to pull the creep wave also. This is the old times of Terrorblade. He would be crying for a poor man's shield right now, but he has relatively high armor, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. But regardless, after this Metamorphosis times out, I can't imagine that Beastmaster and Coddle are going to be continuing to play like this kind of ring around the rosy style. They're going to go all in, make sure that he can't get any last hits.
Yeah, shut down this Terrorblade, force him to the jungle as early as possible. I mean, once he gets at level 3, we do see the Terrorblades most of the time just running straight to the jungle. And I reckon that's probably going to be the same this game, because once the Keeper of the Light and the Beastmaster hit level 3, I don't think there's any lane for the Terrorblade here.
Assuming he'll be able to do anything in the jungle, because Beastmaster's been consistently sending the Hawk over to the pole camp, making sure that it can't spawn, and even beyond that, he's going to be getting vision of this Terrorblade whenever he decides to transition into the jungle.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, you've got Affinjay versus Mr. Kodos here on the Lone Druid. Now, this is a kind of classic counter, isn't it? Like, back in the old days, when OD was that crazy hero, you used to see a lot of Lone Druids coming out in order to just shut down this Outlaw Devourer. Oh, Courier.
Wow.
Miss Micro there. Yeah, I know what he did there. It was the classic. You know when you want to select both your heroes? Yeah, you box select, you get the Courier, and then you drive it into the enemy.
You gotta have those hotkeys.
Yeah. The old habits die hard, unfortunately.
Well, at least he got everything delivered, but he's going to be short one Wraith Band.
Oof.
What a heartbreaker.
Yeah, you know how these carries like their Wraith Bands nowadays.
God, do I.
Meanwhile, King R chasing down MYS Moon down in the bottom lane, just giving the Sand King a hard time, not trying to let him near the lane at all as the hack farms away, gets himself lots of creeps and lots of levels to get him closer to those familiars. I'm really interested to see how Gambit take this into the mid game. So they clearly have a plan. You know, that OD pick was instant. They clearly know what they're doing with this Visage, but I can't really see it just yet. So I'm interested to find out. I'm well on board the Gambit roller coaster. I'm hoping for plenty of twists and turns.
It may be that Odie is like the anchor, and he's not necessarily part of their other 4-hero plan. They just wanted someone stable to dump in the mid lane, make sure that Lone Druid can't get out of control, and then after that, you know, he can transition into the mid to late game just as well as any other carry, but I'm more interested to see what the, like, this Coddle and Beastmaster, like, are they going to start moving around? Because if they do, then they leave the Terrorblade a little bit vulnerable as Vank score gets extremely low to this Lich, who opts to get Frostblast at one.
Yeah, Blocktax Angel just doing a ton of work there. Now turning around though, the Illuminate might connect here, which maybe is kill threat. Nope, there comes the Frost Shield. Lich held the level for a long time there and finally threw it out for the Frost Shield. I think that's really important though. If you hold this level in Sinister Gaze, sometimes, you know, Sinister Gaze is one of those spells where, like, in, I think, maybe like 80% of engagements, it's completely useless. Well, maybe not that far, but it's not very good.
Right.
But then in the 10% of the time or 20% of the time when it is useful, it's really good. You know, dragging them back in, the repositioning, it can be insane. But,
or, I mean, like a sleeper TP cancel if you really need it.
Yeah, absolutely. It has its uses, but overall, you know, I think Frost Shield is the more useful spell. We see it being spammed out most games.
And all things considered, Terrorblade isn't really getting that bullied. He's 22 last hits just like the other two cores in the game, so I don't know, like they keep doing this creep cutting thing. I don't think it's entirely necessary. Old Al Keel? Is that, wait, you were calling him something else, weren't you?
Afterlife.
Afterlife, that's right. Okay, so Afterlife is getting a lot of farm, but I think he can get that even if they just lane normally. But they're continuing to do this creep cutting thing. I guess now maybe Vangscore has a point in Blinding Light. Maybe now they're a bit more willing to contest, but it seems like a waste of your potential to have such a good dual lane and then do something that a bad dual lane would do, where you just steal the creep wave.
And while runes come out and there's no real contest here, it's just Empire picking up two. Beastmaster attempted, made a very half-hearted effort to try and bring down this Lich and get himself a kill. I mean, he's going to pop the Shrine, but I'm fairly sure Vanscore and Afterlife are still just going to go for this one. Blinding Light used. He's making his way over to the Black Dragons. I mean, they might get the kill, but no. Afterlife ready, cancelling that right click and gets the kill there. Meanwhile, on the mid lane, you have got the Lion trying to set up for something here, but he's not really too sure of himself as Afo. He seems to know something's up.
Him out.
He's got the Observer Ward here anyways, so... Oh no, that's their Observer Ward. Yeah, he just knew.
No, he scanned him out. And now he's gonna go for it. Don't really know if he can get this kill.
Sitting in circles on top of him, the right clicks. I mean, it's doing a lot of work, and he has got the Hex on the line. The miss uphill will help out as well. But Sayu's running out of options. He has
one more stun.
Try to play around the trees. Can he get away? No, the banish is there. Afo will take this kill. And just popping that equilibrium before the astral imprisonment comes off as well. You know, Vanscore will deny himself to some creeps there. I think that was a pretty close one, as it looked like Dream was bringing him down quickly. How much time?
Hack also managed to get a solo kill, I think, on MYS Moon. I mean, Lion was missing for a while, so I guess it's not too surprising, but still, being able to get a kill on a Sand King pre-Visage Familiars is pretty impressive.
That's interesting, but the Hack, this is his favorite hero for sure. I remember looking at his Dota Bruff profile and being absolutely disgusted by the amount of Visage this guy's played. Meanwhile, Moon just sitting in the jungle here. I have to say, I feel like the Sand King is kind of the loser of the laning phase. Out of all the cores, he's got the least CS. He's kind of just been wandering around, maybe hitting some creeps here and there, trying to get involved, and now he dies to the Visage as well. It really doesn't feel good as a Sand King, who's supposed to be this big lane dominating hero in this patch.
I guess at the minimum he's kept Tusk busy. Tusk has not gone to the mid lane at all, and so I don't really know how effective a snowball gank could really be on a lone druid, but regardless, I haven't seen King R rotate anywhere quite yet, and so even though Moon isn't doing too great, he's keeping the bot lane occupied.
That's the important thing, I think, to say. The Snowball comes in. He doesn't have the Sandstorm for another 12 seconds. Tusk does not have the vision, though, so he needs to get his kill quick. Otherwise, he can just Sandstorm and sit there. The Visage Familiar is going to help out as well, though, and King R's just doing it solo. And there's that second Sandstorm coming out. The stuns come out, but it doesn't matter. Okay, there's some dust coming on the courier.
Just got the dust delivered on the courier.
Thank you, courier. And, well, Afo should finish this one off, though. Oh, no, King R's going to have to come around and do it himself. But it doesn't matter. They get the kill all the same.
Yeah, so now I'm curious how Afo... Oh, wow. Tranquil Boots on the OD. Interesting.
Ooh? Huh?
I did not know that was a thing.
Um,
I learn more every day, I tell you.
I'm not sure it is a thing. I'm gonna be real with you, but no, it's amazing because he can astral himself and then he gets like the heal. From
Brilliant.
Dude, it's so sick.
Assuming he didn't get touched 13 seconds prior. I can definitely see that happening.
Very realistic scenario as he picks up the DD, but up at top, down at bottom, they chase a lion under the tower, and at top they throw back the Sand King, and they actually use a shout. He just about gets the bow strike off, but it doesn't seem to matter. The shout comes out, the Frost Shield doing work. Is it doing enough though? Vanscore coming in with the right clicks, but he can't seem to do it, and now with the TP in, the Sinister Gaze come to me, Vanscore, as Kodos is making his way in, but unfortunately it was a long TP, meaning it's very difficult for them to find this kill, though this Sand King's playing with fire. He's actually just gonna, ooh, he's salved up, and now Kodos coming in from the side, really wants to find this entangle. The bear, it's not quick enough, and now they'll throw him back with the blinding light. Gambit playing, well, no, actually it was more MYS Moon playing on the edge there on that Sand King. Guys, pretty goofy.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, he wanted to go back in, he had a mango, but as soon as that salve got cancelled, he was like, okay, I have to back off.
King up.
Otherwise, but that's...
Oh, he just tried to gank the Terrorblade, and they just walked into him in his illusions and immediately died, so...
Yeah, and Visage was thinking about joining him, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
It's that wasn't really a gank, that was something else. Oh well, we'll let it fly, you know. I think we've all done it before, you know, when you find the enemy carry farming and you're just like, alright, let's get him, boys, and then you forget that it's a Terrorblade.
Boys?
Yeah. Meanwhile, up at top, MYS Moon hunting for Vanscore. Vanscore, though,
10-minute room.
pretty damn
Looks
quick.
like they're all gonna go Gambit.
They're ready for that one. Empire gotta be sharper than that if you wanna be taking this gold advantage back. Meanwhile, Dahak sitting with this brown boots medallion of courage, very common build. We'll have this Helm of the Dominator out soon as well. And once you get the Helm of the Dom, you are the strongest hero on the map. I don't think there's any hero stronger unless they get some kind of insane farm start.
Yeah, strongest hero, strongest pusher as well, especially if he dominates the siege creep. They're already starting to close in on the map, although there is a smoke gank up on Empire.
They're coming in. They want to go for Vanscore here. This would be a great pick as they use that fear to get Vanscore away, stop him using that blinding light, and now the Sinister Gaze holding in place. Doesn't get a single spell off, but it doesn't look like they're going to get anybody else, as Afterlife is well and truly out of there. So a smoke gank and a big rotation all for Vanscore. Meanwhile, Afo will take this this middle tower, so all things considered, feeling pretty good for the Outward Devourer right now as he's picked himself up as Kaya. Am I going to get to see a Kaya and Yasha finally? In too many games. I think I saw one on the Sand King, weirdly.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't even a Dungeon Kaya, I don't know.
Top lane, Moon just barely TPs out after Aurora was used on him. But his tower will go down as well, and now all tier 1 towers have been claimed. Necrobook 2 will be up and running soon on Afterlife. Dominator is completed on Dahak. Yeah, I don't think Empire are going to be able to get a foot in this game.
Yeah, Gambit are putting out quite a bit of pressure right now, and as you say, it's the laning phase needed to go well for Gambit. It went very well for Gambit, and Terrorblade's the only guy with any money right now, and he doesn't fight until it's like 25 minutes into this game. They're gonna have to try it anyway. I mean, they've got the Dragon Lance on it. It might do something, but you know, the strategy kind of makes sense. You've got the Visage to hit heroes and towers. You've got the Beastmaster basically to hit towers and find pickles with the Roar, and then you got Afo just to run into the middle of things and hit people with his Arcane Orb and just basically be a big hero damage dealer. Also, this Equilibrium spell seems really strong now, by the way. Ooh. Afterlife? No, okay. Alright. Very... that's just your offlaner. It just gets mowed down by a Terrorblade.
It's your offlaner, but they didn't expect that Terrorblade to do that much damage. They dedicated 5 heroes up top under the impression that either there was going to be a full-on fight or Terrorblade was going to need more help. So again, it's another successful kill, much as how the Keeper of the Light was another previously successful kill, but it's such a incredibly heavy commitment that you almost wonder if it was really worth it. Yeah, right. And also, you know, they're just going to wait. Metamorphosis, it's not up for much longer. You wait for this Metamorphosis, you go in again. How does a melee Terrorblade do anything against Gambit?
Especially these heroes. Oh, they found MOS Moon. Now they get the shards off as well. Dust to follow up. Sand King looking in trouble right now as he's being stunned up and held still. And Nafo Ninja comes in for the last hit. It's down goes the Sand King. And up to the top lane we go.
And like you said, Metamorphosis is down for a good period of time. Beastmaster doesn't even need to return to the top. He knows that the lane is already pushed out. He will claim a different objective in the mid lane, which is the most dangerous lane to go to right now, so I don't think, yeah, he's not going to proceed much further. But instead they're going to go for Roche, and they've had the potential to do Roche for a while, so this should be real quick.
Look at him go. This is without their OD. I mean, OD is now here, but, you know, he doesn't really do much to Roshan anyway. And
wait, shouldn't it work now? Isn't Roche considered an ancient unit?
Oh.
I don't know if it works. I haven't seen it yet, but in theory it should.
What if no one's tried?
What if no one's tried? I mean, he didn't have it on autocast because I was like, oh, that's weird that's not working, but he didn't have it on autocast, so the question still remains.
Will we ever know? Does chat know? Does anybody know?
Let's see the wiki. Maybe the wiki might know. Let me see. Arcane.
Mid-game research. Big. You want to hack?
Anything important happening?
Well, Gambit are running at Empire, but that's pretty much been the summary of the game so far. As so backs out the hack, trying to chase him down. The shards nearly catches him, not quite though. The birds though, the snowball up onto the high ground. This is a deep snowball. Now the Earth Spike to turn it around, keep those birds still. Even gets the Hawk in that as well. Not that he could see it. Blind Hawk execution. Didn't quite kill it.
Terrorblade off.
He gets the Sunder, yep. And now he's held still, though. And they can actually just tear him apart. Sandy the Eclipse comes down and takes short work of Dream. Meanwhile, the Lamp doing its job, holding Lich in place. And now they can come in. The Illuminate sweeps through and finishes off Black Archangel as well as Gambit. Take 2 big kills and now can probably look for towers as well. And this is so scary for Empire as well. You lose anybody and your towers are going to be under a big threat. As Affinj just TP's back, get these runes, get this money, and maybe get a Sanctum as well if MIS Moon isn't careful, but he doesn't have vision on the OD, so can't get too carried away. Bottom tower is already gone though. Mid tower will probably be under siege shortly.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised that Gambit didn't commit more heroes to the mid lane push. I don't know if the... Oh, okay, so Dahak, I guess, like, solo pushed the tier 2, and now they're all converging on mid. Because after you win a fight like that in a location like that, this lane is free, and Seiyu did not get the memo.
Yes, he very much being too far forward here. This part of the map is Gambits, and I think most of the map is Gambits right now. Terrorblade
all these
doing what he can.
Defensive wards in the jungle, like, that you don't own this part of the map anymore. Dream on the run away from Visage Familiars. 1 connects, 2 connects.
Stomping down. Now the Snowball to follow up as well. They've got Roar in 8 seconds. Dream is going to need a little bit more help if he wants to survive this one. The Frost Armor is just not going to do enough. Down goes Dream again. Meanwhile, Black Archangel running away from this one, but they don't really want him. They just want towers. They just want to take some buildings and get to the high ground right now as Gambit looking to take another tier 2 right now.
And normally whenever you have this high of an advantage, like every single tower at 16 minutes, it's typically pretty hard to push high ground. I don't see that being the case this game, because like I said during the draft, the creep clearing capabilities of Empire are pretty trash. So yeah, I'm perfectly okay with them going for a siege like this.
And look at how far back Empire are placed here. They want nothing to do with this.
Yeah, because Afterlife didn't have to use Roar in that engagement. They were able to successfully kill Terrorblade without that. But now Terrorblade does have Metamorphosis and Sunder, so they're going to back off now that he respawns. And an immediate smoke from the backlines, although they may have been spotted out by this ward.
Dire's top shrine is under attack.
Yeah,
Gambit, full retreat. They don't want anything to do with this. I mean, they're going to send the Familiars to do a bit of damage to the shrine, but that's about it. It's, Gambit back
they actually stayed a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I guess they were like, hey, everyone suspiciously left their base. We should probably leave.
Yeah, suddenly we can't see anybody on those really deep wards we have.
Yeah.
Radiant are scanning.
Terrorblade queuing up the BKB next as well. I like this item build from him, I have to say. Like, it's very efficient, going for the 3 Wraith Bands, Dragonlance, Yasha, you know, just staying purely for the stats efficiency items. He knows that he has to be this kind of 20-minute carry, basically, 15-minute carry.
Right. The BKB is a contingency plan, but I'm glad he's going for it as opposed to being like, it's okay, guys. I'll get my Manta Style, Maybe a pike can help me. The pike will be my like mid-game stopgap item, and it never is.
Pike is a pike just is very underwhelming. So much gold investment for Nomad. Oh, they get the Hex out onto the Tusk, and with his double damage on Dream, they rip him apart. Now they're going to need to get out on everybody else as well, as Dahak could be in trouble, though. He can maybe bring down MYS Moon. Yes, he can, but the right clicks from Dream are just too damn heavy. This double damage rune is terrifying to play against, as they will lose 2 heroes on the side of Gambit and force to TP out on everybody else. Meanwhile, the creeps are into the base. They're doing a bit of work, but yeah, not really anything to be worried about. Empire will have to get back and defend it, so no chance of a push here, although I say that. A Dream is just going to march and probably rip apart this tower. Are you going to go for it? I mean, there's a lot of TP points around here.
Yeah, I mean, he may feel a little bit confident because he has this ward scouting the cliff.
Exactly, but then there's the possibility of a smoke. I mean, these are probably the thoughts which came into his head over the course of like 2 seconds, and it's taking us, we're just kind of working through them like, well.
And now it's over.
Yeah.
But still successful kills, very fortuitous double damage rune, being able to kill the Visage, who's, I mean, now less of a net worth than Terrorblade, so he's making progress, but it's still a long ways away. They haven't even claimed a single tower yet.
100% towers. That's a sign of a tough game. Tough game is MYS Moon. I mean, this Coddle seems really good versus Sankey, as we saw there. I was about to say, he can just knock him out of the Sandstorm whenever he wants. Now they use the Roar as well. MYS Moon being made short work of. They even throw down the Will-O-Wisp there. That is huge commitment, but I guess they were worried about follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, Lion did just now finish a Blink Dagger, but really a Lion blinking in is not the biggest deal. So I'm surprised they go for the commitment. Because now I think that kind of slows down their push. I don't know if they should go for this push now. How far is Terrorblade? Terrorblade's still 500 gold away from his BKB.
Yeah.
So maybe they can go for this. But it is a ballsy move.
I think they leave these Rex though. I think Empire, they just say, our BKB is more important than our mid-Rex. Go. Like, we'll be there shortly. And Terrorblade should be able to get it just about in time before they start on these mid-Rex. But, I mean, top just goes down so damn quick. Gambit. They're feeling the momentum right now, and they take these bracks as they should. 30 minutes, 20 minutes, sorry, with this lineup. They do need to be doing this. It's not like they're some kind of just walking over this map. This is what their heroes need to be doing, right?
Right. Bear goes down in the bot lane, so resummon down for Kodos. But I imagine they're probably going to chill into the next Roche. It's potentially respawn in 1 minute. The Hawk is already parked over it. Really, the only way you lose this is if Terrorblade gets like an ultra kill in a team fight.
Can we call the RSPCA on Kodos for not buying his bare boots even?
Oh, is it called the RSPCA? We have the ASPCA. What is the R? Is it Royal?
You're asking too many questions there. I don't know. They protect animals. It's probably Royal. Probably Royal.
Okay, yeah, that would be my guess. And I would guess the A for us is American.
Seems likely.
Wait, is PETA a thing in European countries?
I mean, I know of PETA. Yeah, you could definitely use that one.
But does it have a presence, or do you just know it because of like pop culture?
I'm pretty sure I just know it because of pop culture.
Okay, fair enough.
Can't say I've ever seen any PETA stuff around in the UK at least. Popular name,
You guys are just very nice to animals, I suppose.
I wish. Well, seems to be a little bit of a lapse in the action here. I think this is Gambit waiting for Roshan to spawn, and with this BKB picked up on the Terrorblade, which I'm sure they are aware of, they realize that this could be a good fight for Empire if they don't play their cards right. So playing it carefully, playing cautiously, they take one lane of Rex, don't give away their gold advantage by losing a silly fight into a BKB Terrorblade. They've seen how much this guy can do. With that double damage rune, admittedly, he still did a lot. Uh-oh. Keep it the light. Could be going down. Here's the first 50 damage for Sayu. Get him, oh.
I respect it.
That's disappointing. I do not.
Much as though he's going to be holding onto the finger, I imagine that the Beastmaster, upon seeing this Terrorblade BKB, is no longer going to start primal roaring anyone else other than the Terrorblade. Yeah. So it's a game of cat and mouse now. If Dream manages to get a Sunder off, I would be amazed, because it's going to be hard as hell. But
yeah. They're a
We'll see
team
how
made
long
for
they can
kiting,
stall
more or
these
less.
fights.
But it's now a bit of push. Empire going for their first tower of the game. Can they pull it off? No.
Gambit are pissed. This is a late-ass Roche, and they're like, I can't believe they're getting so much done on the map. We should be taking Roche and their other Raxes by now, but...
Between this and the
God's
double
not
damage
smiling.
rune, the Roche
Yeah,
respawn
right?
and the double damage rune, Gambit are kind of getting ruined here by old RNGesus. And yeah, Empire going for the wraparound here. I love this play, actually. This is huge. They're going for
Hawk sees
Afo.
it.
The double the epicenter blink in, and now the lamp though doing a lot, but the BKB on the Terrorblade. Now the Roar comes out. King R somehow still alive, and Afro and Jay not even close to death. But now they turn around, and King R will be dropping very quickly there as Dream getting out so much damage. Afro needs to get away, but he turns around with the Santi's Eclipse, but it doesn't do a damn thing. The Terrorblade is absolutely fine as the banishment comes out, and away they go. But now they turn around to Hack trying to fight it off, and they will bring him down. The big boy is dead, and MYS Moon being destroyed by Necron units, and Kodos probably going to be dropped here as well as Avo attack from the high ground. They get the kills. 4 heroes down the side of Empire, and now Gambit can look for Roshan, or maybe even the game if they want to. Get some buybacks out.
Yeah, I think they go for structures first, because they know that BKB and Metamorphosis is going to be down for a while.
Yep.
It did cost a Tusk buyback, but the fact that OD was able to survive despite not defensively astraling, like as soon as the smoke popped and he saw Sand King channeling Epicenter, he actually like turned around instead of instantly casting Astral, but it ended up working out. He survived. And Terrorblade did successfully get a Sunder off, but I think I used the word successfully very loosely though.
Yeah.
He casted the spell and he got HP out of it. He did not win the fight though.
No, it didn't really matter. And down go those middle barracks. Not a single buyback used. And they're going to go for the Megas right now and force Empire into another fight, which they do not want to do. I mean, they now have the BKB, but they've got the They don't have the Metamorphosis. We've already talked about how important that is for them to have. Although the Bow Strike's fairly nice. Into 2, follow up with Chain Frost as well, but does get dragged away by Affin and Jay. Now Dahak comes back. They'll hex him up and drag it down with the Blinding Light. Does so much work. Now the Roar comes in onto the high ground, onto Kodos, keeping him still. He's just picked up a BKB, but most of it's going to go to waste. Meanwhile, Vanskool firing out the Illuminates onto the high ground. Actually gets the ball with it. The bear, sorry. Or bear. There's a lot of animals.
You never know.
Yeah, true. I might have been right, but Empire, I mean, they hold. It's not the most convincing hold I've ever seen, but they do hold.
Everything that Gambit were able to achieve just now was just gravy. The fact that they were able to do that much and not have to go for Roche is just like a bonus of winning the previous team fight near their Ancients. Like, they could have played it safe and just gone for Roche, but they were like, we can take a Rax, and then they're like, maybe we can take a second Rax. Terrorblade comes up, they get a 2-man Burrow Strike, and they're like, alright, never mind. I'm glad that Gambit built defensively, though, because a lot of times whenever a team gets such an immense lead like this, they're like, oh, sweet, let's all build Blink Daggers, let's all get, like, damage-oriented stuff, let's get Dagons and whatnot, or Midases, but here there was a Force Staff to save, I think the Visage got Astraled, and the Tusk got, the Beastmaster got forced back, and Glimmer Caped. And so I'm glad that they itemized like this as opposed to going balls deep on damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like, you know, this Terrorblade would be melting through them even quicker if that wasn't the case. And
exactly.
He does a lot. Oh dear.
There we go.
First
He
finger.
gets 50 damage.
50 damage up. MYS Moon roared up on the backline, so the Familiar's not enough to finish him off, though he does have the Soul Assumption, will use it and finish the job. But Dream doing a lot of work just to force back Gambit, but they need to take a fight here. I feel like Empire need to have a bit of urgency right now. They've popped this Metamorphosis. The Aegis is up on Gambit. Whether you like it or not, you need to fight right now, because otherwise your Metamorphosis is going to run out, and then you're fighting without it, and that is not going to happen. That's not going to work. And Empire
and
actually
spent a Lich buyback for basically no reason.
Oof. This is... I mean, I reckon this game may well just be over right now. I mean, Gambit happily to run high ground right now. They've got the Scythe of Vice. The BKB wasn't used, but the Metamorphosis was, and that's the important one. How do they defend this?
Coddle isn't there. I don't, again, really know how value Will-O-Wisp is, but Blinding Light is pretty useful, and that's why Lone Druid built his BKB, is because he's like, I can't right-click anyone right now.
Yeah.
But looks like they don't need him to push this and get Night Creeps.
Alright, Empire, well, they grit their teeth, and they're gonna take the hard way out.
Coddle again.
Oh, they're going on to this, though. Coddle
maybe
getting rapid in from behind. Coddle will die, but Maybe they can get the return kill. I mean, Dream is the one in the middle of all of this. He's looking to be in trouble as he's stunned up by the familiars. Can't get his BKB off, and now in comes a touch. They punch him up, but he gets the thunder. King R's dead. Now Dream can look for more as he's in the melee form for finding kills, but Afo, he's the scary one. The BKB is popped from Dream, but the Sanities comes down, and Afo Ninja cleans up house. Can he get the Rampage? MYS Moon, he's dead. Gambit will take the game in a spectacular Rampage fashion. I mean, the OD was just untouched in that fight, and the moment he saw anybody, they just got melted. Good lord, that was a thorough spanking for poor old Empire there.
Yeah, in terms of synergy with the draft, I still don't necessarily see how the OD fit in, but if it was a comfort pick, then it looked incredibly comfortable. That man was lounging the entire game. 10-0 and 2 was the score. The mid lane was seamless, and he was roaming around whenever he needed to, made sure that this Terrorblade never really felt safe, and overall, incredibly impressed with the performance.
Yeah, that wasn't a comfort pick. That was a freshly washed duvet with some nice scented quilts pick. It was beautiful to watch. Gambit dismantled Team Empire in game number 1. Can Team Empire hope pull back the series? Let's hope they live up to their name in game number 2, which will be coming up shortly. We'll see if they can take this one and even it out, or whether Gambit are just going to walk their way into an easy grand finals. I hope not, but you know, judging by that game, it's not looking too good for Team Empire, but hopefully they can prove us wrong. Game number 2 coming up shortly.